As the city joins the school district and the school board to provide updates on back-to-school safety and programs for children and teens as we count down to the first day of school. Back-to-school is always an exciting time of year, and we know that the safety of our children is at the top of everyone's mind. That's why City, in partnership with the School District of Philadelphia and our public safety partners, are working to enhance programs that will keep our children safe as they head back to school in neighborhoods all across the city. Here today is Dr. Tony Watlington, Superintendent of the Philadelphia School District, Reggie Streeter, President of the Philadelphia School Board, Vanessa Garrett-Harley, Deputy Mayor for the Office of Children and Families, Police Commissioner Danielle Outlaw, and Kevin Bethel, Chief of School Safety with the School District of Philadelphia. Before I turn things over to Deputy Mayor Garrett-Harley, I want to share updates on programs and services like our out-of-school time program opportunities that help keep children and youth engaged in positive, enriching activities. When not in class, I want to highlight a few other initiatives. The city has over 650 crossing guards actively assigned to locations for the upcoming school year, and we continue to hire more. To learn more about the program and submit an application, please visit phila.gov/crossing-guards. That's phila.gov/crossing-guards. Later, Chief Bethel will also highlight the continued collaboration with the School District of Philadelphia, local businesses, and community volunteers to ensure that students have safe passage to and from school, including the expansion of School Safety Zones initiative, which provides additional uniformed police officers present at school dismissal times to support safe passages for students as they leave school. The police department is also working with Operation Town Watch and other community groups to provide safety to our children in and around schools and to and from school. And we know that the hours after school are also critical times where students are at greater risk for unsafe behavior. This is one reason why we invest so heavily in out-of-school time programs as a key priority for our young people. This fall, we have 441 organizations at 132 sites across the city ready to engage students with activities from academic support, coding, sports, creative arts, and much more. Families can also rest assured that their students are in a safe, positive environment after school. So now, for more information and updates on the city's effort for fall out-of-school time, it's my pleasure to turn it over to Deputy Mayor Vanessa Garrett-Harley, who heads the Office of Children and Families. Vanessa.
So good afternoon, everyone. I am Vanessa Garrett-Harley, Deputy Mayor for the Office of Children and Families. Thank you for joining us today as we come to discuss back-to-school safety. We all know how exciting back-to-school time is for young learners, for our children, our youth, and our parents. But we also know that the hours after school are critical time for young people who are at a greater risk for unsafe behavior when they're not engaged. So we're making it a point to try to make them as engaged as possible. The mayor has made the education and well-being of Philadelphia's children and youth a priority for this administration. So please join me in thanking Mayor Kinney for everything that he has done around the education and all of the care and time and money he's put into doing programming for our children and youth. Now, according to research, students who participate in quality out-of-school time programs are more likely to attend school, they're more likely to be physically active, and they're less likely to become victims of violence or be involved in violent or otherwise negative behavior. Our Office of Children and Families, Department of Parks and Recreation, the Free Library of Philadelphia, and DHS offer many positive opportunities for young people during these hours. I want to first bring to your attention a major investment in Philadelphia families from our out-of-school time program. This fall, the Office of Children and Families will engage more than 7,100 students at about 136 out-of-school time programs across the city. These programs are located in public, charter, private, and parochial schools, as well as community-based locations and rec centers. You can go to phila.gov/families, and there's a blog called After the Bell that'll give you a lot more information about our out-of-school time programs, and you will be able to find a perfect fit for your child. Philadelphia Parks and Rec provides affordable, fun, and after-school programming for more than 2,000 students at about 100 sites across the city. Those programs serve students aged 6 to 12. We provide a snack, homework help, and rec time until about 6 p.m. On days where the school district has a half day, those students are also often taken on trips and other experiential learning opportunities. Again, you can visit phila.gov/PPR to learn more. The Free Libraries Literacy Enrichment After School Program, or LEAP, as most of us call it, is coming back again this year, and we'll start a new school year at all the libraries this September. This is a drop-in after-school program, and we focus on literacy, STEAM, wellness, and support collaboration and communication, creativity, and social skill. LEAP offers homework assistance, in-person and online, and there's also some live tutoring opportunities through the Homework Help online. And they run from 10 a.m., the Homework Helpline runs from 10 a.m. to midnight daily. The Free Library is also hiring high school students to work with the LEAP program. Those students will help younger students with homework and serve as peer mentors to some of the younger LEAP participants. You can check your local library for more information on that. We urge parents to make a visit, to make the visit kind of a whole family affair. It's a lot of fun. As you know, this year we are commemorating 50 years of hip-hop, and the library has designed a very special library card and other things to commemorate this, and you might be interested in taking your kids and family there to be able to obtain the library card and see some of the other displays. The Department of Human Services is enrolling now for youth development programs. Boys and Girls Track, we call it, are for youth grades 7 to 11. Boys and Girls Track offers structured activities, community service, mentorship. We teach life skills and more. Again, you can visit phila.gov/DHS to learn more about these programs. Our intensive prevention services, or IPS as we call them, are for youth ages 10 through 19, and this will help keep them engaged in activities that will positively impact their development. There are 7 locations throughout the city. The intensive prevention services is something that we definitely try to highlight because they will also deal with children who are on the verge of delinquency. Often, sometimes parents call and say, I need help, and I don't know where to go with my young person, or he's hanging with the wrong crowd, or I just need some help. And intensive prevention services provide that level of support. Older youth are also encouraged to take advantage of our community evening resource centers, or CERCs as we call them. We now have 6 CERCs located throughout the city. They're open 7 days a week from 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. So during some of those critical late hours, we want to make sure that our young people have somewhere to go to get positive programming. And again, these are for young people ages 10 through 17 that allow them to be engaged in positive youth development, such as financial literacy, sports, there are trips, there's gaming, there are family nights, and many of the CERCs have different individual educational opportunities as well. These centers are also designed to be a resource for our Philadelphia Police Department when they encounter a youth who may be outside the curfew hours and they are unable to take their youth home. It allows them some place to take them, and our centers provide transportation, so we make sure that the young person gets safely home at some point during that night. We also have a program called Don't Fall Down in the Hood. It's a community-based prevention program for youth ages 13 to 21. These are for young people who have been impacted by violence. This program will even work with some of the harder-in young people who may or may not have been adjudicated delinquent. And again, it tries to help with crisis intervention, de-escalation techniques, provide some mentorship and academic supports, and also some employment linkages to help some of these young people be able to secure employment opportunities. So now I'm going to turn this over to our school board president, Reginald Streeter, and he can talk about some of the other activities that we do in partnership with our school board. Thank you.
Thank you, excuse me. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Garrett Hartley, for your briefing and report on what the city is doing in its collaboration with the with the School District of Philadelphia. Good afternoon. It is indeed a pleasure to join you all today. I am here joined by Board Member Cecilia Thompson from the Board of Education, and I'm the President of the Board of Education. I am also a father of 2 children from the district, and also I am a beneficiary of the public school education in Philadelphia as well. Thank you, Mayor Kinney, for not just hosting this important public briefing on plans to keep students safe during the 2023-2024 school year, but also for the yeoman's work that you did to ensure that that local control returned back to the city of Philadelphia. And I'm sure that the village is poised to ensure that it stays that way in perpetuity. As we all know, gun violence is impacting communities across the city, and driving an urgent need to decrease the violence and keep everyone safe, including our teachers, which is why we're here today. I believe we must do everything we can to alleviate gun violence and maintain schools as safe places to ensure our schools, communities are safe, especially our students, as they go to and from school and when they are out and about from school and to school. I want to also emphasize that the Board of Education appreciates the support that the school district has received from Mayor Kinney, City Council, and the Philadelphia Police Department for measures that address safe passage to and from school. As it relates to this topic and other topics germane to public education, I've always said that almost everything we need is right here in Philadelphia, and these individuals up here are leading the task to get that done with our village. I'm sure we all agree that we must continue working together in partnership to implement measures that protect our school communities. The school district has put in place a number of measures to address school safety and safe passage from school, and the board greatly appreciates all the school district has done under Chief Bethel's leadership, which we will be sharing with you shortly. We also greatly appreciate the city's endeavors to keep our children safe, from providing crossing guards and school safety zones to offering out-of-school time, parks and recreations, and free library programs. Indeed, it is a village. These programs are essential to keeping students safe when they are not in school and offering students opportunities to learn, develop new skills, grow socially and emotionally, and to simply have fun. Also, vitally important is expanding our mental health services that support the social and emotional health of our school communities. Indeed, we do believe that we must educate the whole child and nurture the whole child. The critical point here is that if we want our students to learn, thrive, and succeed, then we must ensure they are safe and physically and emotionally healthy so they are ready and primed to learn. This is a core pillar of the board's goals and guardrails, our 5-year plan that sets academic goals in reading, math, and college and career readiness, and guardrails that are intended to ensure that the environments and all the tools that we have are cultivated in a way that ensures that our learners can be their best selves now and in the future. I think we're all getting excited and looking forward to the new school year. I know I am, which is full of promise and possibility for all students to learn, thrive, and achieve academic success. I would also like to reiterate that the board and the school district are committed to keeping our learners and school communities safe, and we look forward to a safe school year ahead. On behalf of the Board of Education, I thank the city for its partnerships in keeping our learners safe through all of the initiatives that will be discussed today. Thank you, and now the Superintendent of the School District of Philadelphia, Tony Watlington, Sr.
Good afternoon. Very pleased to be here. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Madam Deputy Mayor, President Streeter. It's an honor to be here as we get ready to kick off a new school year. I'm excited to welcome all of our students back on September the 5th. We know that safe environments are really, really important as our students return to school. We fully intend to deliver on our commitment to work collaboratively with the city, Commissioner Outlaw and the Philadelphia Police Department and others in our community to hear our students' voices and to make sure that we continue to make schools safe havens for our young people. We're excited about this year also because we think we're going into the year with some momentum, with teacher attendance up, student attendance up, a modest reduction in the number of students who dropped out of school last year. And when the state verifies our testing data, we're hopeful that we'll have some other good news to share later this fall. Now, we know that we absolutely can't make the kind of academic gains that we need in Philadelphia without safe schools. So we are absolutely committed to having that partnership again with the city, with the Philadelphia Police Department and grassroots organizations, parents and others, because it's a shared responsibility. And in the School District of Philadelphia, we certainly know that we can't do this work alone, and so we're looking forward to working in partnership. I'll tell you a little bit about those partnerships. I'm very pleased this afternoon to be able to introduce the best Chief of School Safety and Security anywhere in these United States, Chief Kevin Bethel.
I appreciate those words. And so, as Dr. Watlington stated, I'll begin where he kind of ended. That the work that we do around school safety really is a true partnership with Commissioner Outlaw, Commissioner Kelly are here today. I could not do the work that I'm doing by myself, but alone without their support, and I want to name that up front as we move through the process. One of the things we're grateful is, as Dr. Watson implemented his strategic plan under Accelerate Philly, one of the things we wanted to really start to focus on also was some of the physical safety issues that we have and concerns around our schools. We identified that we had over 150 schools that were still using analog systems, camera systems, that were not an effective way for us to manage the safety of our buildings, particularly around our schools and the issues we're having in some of our sites, our athletic sites around those schools. So we're pleased to announce, and have been announced already by the superintendent, that over the next 3 years we'll be phasing in a $47 million capital project to bring all of our cameras up to a digital platform. What is more exciting about that process is that we also are purchasing a video management system that will allow us to work in partnership with the city to link our cameras across the entire city. And so we're really excited about that effort and moving forward in collaboration with the city to merge our camera system across the entire city, and we're excited about that. One of the areas that many of you have covered, we've started to see an increase in guns in our lower grades, particularly our true middle schools. And so in my conversations with the superintendent and the board, we will be moving forward with a process of, in our true middle schools, our 6 to 8 schools, we're using a minimally invasive gun detection equipment. Now, I'll slow that down for you. What does that mean? We're not searching the kids as they come to the door. We have identified equipment that would identify a gun. If a child came into our school with a gun, we would be able to identify that child coming through that. We'll move to be introducing that model into our schools this year. We had 18 guns over the last 2 years. We've had 18 guns the last school year and the previous school year. This is a significant increase. And so we must meet the challenge of the guns coming into our schools, and we're really excited about where we're going in that direction. You also heard mentioned, I've talked to you many times about our Safe Path program. We have 13 programs currently, and we're blessed and honored to be able to have a partnership with the Pennsylvania University of Penn's Injury Science Center. We'll be adding another 9 schools into our cohort of Safe Path schools. As you've heard discussed, these are bringing in individuals who are hired to work in our corridors after the school let out of our schools. We've identified those key schools that we think have the greatest challenge. We'll continue to work with our partners across the city to help us support even more expansion of that. And so we'll be implementing those 9 schools. In September, we've identified at least 5 community groups through the Penn Injury Science team to be able to do that. And so we're really excited about how that will move us forward. I also want to come back to the Philadelphia Police Department. 2 years ago, we identified safety zones, 27 safety zones that encompass 40 schools within those zones, using data to determine where we had a high level of particularly shooting violence after our schools. Working with Commissioner Outlaw and Commissioner Kelly and his team, we will continue to work collaboratively to cover those zones after our schools and working to do that. We're fortunate also over this past year to get a grant from the Philadelphia Commission on Crime and Delinquency that will give us almost $600,000 to hire Philadelphia police officers, particularly for some of our more strategic areas where we have concerns, our super sites, where we oftentimes have some issues, other sporting activities, even working with us as it relates to our active shooter model. We'll be able to hire those officers to help us support us in that work. So we're really looking forward to our continued partnership with the Philadelphia Police Department. We also this year are introducing a new model. Many of you know Run, Hide, and Fight has been the model across the nation, and also that we do a lockdown in our school. We did not feel that was enough for our school community, that we need to start to move to a model that was much more tailored to an education institution. We identify ALICE as an active shooter model. ALICE stands for Alert, Locate, Inform, Counter, and Inform. A lot of the lockdown components are part of that, but it gives us enough latitude to start doing different things with our schools as we see the age goes higher into our higher grades. So we're really excited about that. One of the final things I'll start to talk about as we expand our work is working with our drones. We see drones as also another tool. I know you do that in your work here as well, as a way for us to create safety zones, particularly in our super sites and areas where we cannot cover effectively. And so as we move forward we're now doing a project at Bartram High School. We're going to start to expand that and looking at the drone technology to see how that can help us keep our corridors safe. I'll end with a couple of things. I would encourage folks to continue to use our SafeToSayPA.org. SafeToSayPA.org is a great platform for our community, parents, children, to alert us when there's issues going on with our students. And so we really think that's a key thing, and we will continue to push that out. I'll end with this also. I talked about a lot of physical activity, but one of the core elements of our work is also about building relationships. And so we think our core work, as we do our issue around safety, is the men and women in my team, the 400 men and women in our staff and in our schools, building relationships with young people will encourage and ensure their safety as well. And so through that process, we'll continue to emphasize that work. So I will stop there, and I will pass it over to Commissioner Danielle Outlaw for her remarks.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you. Thank you for joining us here today. As our students gear up for yet another exciting year of learning, there is one thing that's absolutely clear. Every child and every parent should feel an absolute peace of mind as they travel to and from school, period. And with that goal in mind, the PPD is again working hand in hand with all of our partners here at the school district, local businesses, and community volunteers to create safe passage for our students' daily travels to and from school. That's why the Safe Passage program mentioned earlier is of the utmost importance. And our department is committed to ensuring that parents and children have that peace of mind. More specifically, as part of the program, our department continuously works with PSD principals to identify common thoroughfares, currently over 100, that students utilize to arrive and depart from their schools. In addition, every PSD school will receive enhanced patrols throughout the school year, especially during the busy periods of arrival and dismissal. Chief Bethel also mentioned the Philadelphia School Safe Zones program between the PPD and the School District of Philadelphia. These identified zones primarily focused around middle and high schools, and they were selected using the latest crime data available to us. Officers patrolling these zones keep a watchful eye for anything amiss, and most importantly, they work to create a protective pathway for our students. Although we're not delving into tactical specifics today, one thing is certain: students and parents will see an increase in visible officers around these safety zones. I want to be clear, and I think I have to reiterate this every year: the surge in police presence is an augmentation, not a substitution, for our routine neighborhood patrols. In truth, these added resources will actually amplify the presence of officers in some of our more challenged neighborhoods, demonstrating our commitment to holistic community care. We're coming to the end of a great summer with our kids engaging in recreational and PAL Center programming and activities. While some of these programs will remain available after school begins, our deployments at rec centers during the day will be redirected to ensure safety around schools. Officers will be making periodic checks at some rec centers, though, and any rec centers where there's been issues identified will continue to see an increase of officers patrolling the area. Lastly, I want to extend heartfelt well wishes to all of our students embarking upon the 2023-24 school year. May this year be one that's filled with curiosity, growth, and moments that shapes our futures. Have a great year, and go make us proud, students. Thank you. I think we're opening it up for questions.
Mayor, last year 199 students were shot in the city of Philadelphia during the school year, and 33 were killed. How in the world would parents have any level of peace of mind, as the commissioner just spoke about, with those numbers?
We're always worried about our kids every day, regardless of where they go to school or how old they are, and we're doing everything that we can, which was just enumerated here, to make them as safe as possible. The bottom line is that until we get our, and people don't want to hear this, but I'm going to say it anyway, until we get our arms around this Commonwealth's issues relative to the availability of guns, we're still going to be running uphill. Everybody seems to have a gun. As a matter of fact, the shooting in the tourist area the other day, both guys had apparently permits to carry, which are easy to get. You don't even have to prove that you need it anymore. So as long as the availability of guns are what they are, we're going to have these issues. But we're doing everything we can from a educational side to recreation to after-school programs to safe zones to increase police presence to make it as safe as possible. And that's what we're going to do.
Yes, yeah. So that we've already purchased equipment. We will be introducing that into the schools this year. We did a pilot at 2 schools, and that went extremely well. We go through a process and where we meet with the school leader, we meet with the school community. We do sessions and have communications back and forth with them to understand what the introduction of this equipment will look like, and then we will move forward in that process. But the fund is coming from a grant funding. It's not coming out of school dollars. We were able to identify a grant through the Department of Justice that enables us to be able to purchase this equipment at no cost to the city dollars. Yeah, so if you can imagine, I think some of you may have been down to the airport, to the stadium most recently. They have a little more fancier equipment than ours. You will see just 2 stanchions at both sides of the doorway, just 2 poles. The kids will, what we were purposeful, it was looking for something that did not add to the trauma of our young people in coming to that environment. And so the child does not have to take their bag off. They don't have to put it on a conveyor belt. They don't have to do anything other than walk through these 2 stanchions. Unfortunately, if one of our children does have a gun or something that may detect as that, then we would pull that child to the side and determine what they have in there. So we felt this was a less intrusive, very minimally impact on the school environment, most importantly on the children that we serve. In the true middle schools, so there was about 12, I believe it was 12 schools. I get that exact number, I believe it was 12.
Can you tell us how many officers being hired for that 600,000?
No. How many officers? It will depend on the events. We use the data to determine where we're going to deploy our staff. It depends on what is occurring, and so that gives us a lot of flexibility to be able to hire officers as needed when we have incidents. There's been times when, unfortunately, we've had a school that comes under significant threat. And we've tasked Commissioner Kelly's and his team to take from their resources to accommodate that. In this case, we'll be able now to ask them to hire individuals and officers that maybe be on station outside of the school in the event of that's occurring. So there's no set number. We will be very flexible with the use of those dollars and use them very effectively.
Will they just be the safety zone?
No, this is for the entire system, and it's does not include just us. It's also related to the charters as well. Portion of the funding we also receive is to support our charter personnel as well, our schools as well, and so we'll be using as needed these funds to help us. Now, I just want to emphasize, these are not to put Philadelphia police officers in our schools. We have a model where we have school safety officers who are not armed, who manage our schools every day very effectively. And we will just be enhancing those exterior supports that we need from the Philadelphia Police Department when those things arise, and or when we're looking to do exercises. We have to be very mindful of the active shooter training that we need to do. This will enable us to bring the Philadelphia Police Department SWAT team into our schools to be able to help our school as we transition to different modeling of our active shooter, to be able to support that without interrupting their normal daily duties.
Chief Buckle, I have a question. We know that Cheltenham School District has started to launch visitors coming in and out of sporting events. Is that something that you're looking for? How are you upping educational security for sporting events?
So we have already instituted those types of policies at specific events. We are not able to do bonding of all of our events. Unfortunately, we're not unfortunately, but due to our sheer size. But we identify particular games, particular incidences, schools where they are, where we've had historical issues, where we do use, weapons detections, wanding. This new equipment that I described, we're going to be able, because it's mobile, we'll be able to move that into our space. So we have been doing that. We'll continue to enhance that work. We've been working with the Philadelphia Police Department to identify those locations where we think it's most effectively for us to do that. But that is part of our security force now.
Chief, you mentioned the fact that you plan to upgrade the analog cameras in school buildings to digital in other buildings, and you plan to merge those systems with city cameras. Does that include live monitoring? Does that include AI? What will that look like in the future?
Well, the city of Philadelphia has a phenomenal system now that they are able to do live monitoring virtually, footbeats we used to call it at one point. We'll be moving into a system that will allow our principals for the first time not have to be in a camera room where they can actually look at cameras on their desktops. They can actually be able to look at cameras from their phones. So there's, in some of our schools, we do have live monitoring of our camera systems just due to the sheer size and the activity at the school, but that's labor intensive. By moving into this arena, we'll now be able to give more eyes and ears within the system. The merging is because of the video management system. We are purchasing a system that the city already has. Because of that interoperability now, we're able to link those systems. So, for example, if once we get this up and going, if there is a tragic incident or incident occurring, we can push that information to the police department to give them access to our cameras. And we'll be talking through as we start to put the cameras that the city is now putting along our corridors around our schools. We will be able to use that system to be able to look at those cameras in a more broader way. So it's an evolving process, and we'll see how things go as we move through this installation. And one of the things that we identified, even looking at your drones, that you're using in your news work, is that the ability to get our drones up into the air, and with the sheer capacity of them to be able to see so far in an effective way, we believe that technology is something that would be very beneficial for us, particularly around as we try to staff out these safe paths. It's very expensive to have these programs put up. However, I can purchase a very effective drone, put it up in the middle of 67th and Elmwood, and see almost 5 blocks away going both directions. We believe that technology, collectively, when we look at our super sites, you see the size of our Northeast super site, I can hire 15 officers to try to cover that entire site, or I enable myself by bringing a drone to be able to scan that area for security purposes. So we believe we're in the early process of it, though, right? So I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but we believe that technology, because of its ability and its camera quality, and it's been able to feed back to the ground, on the ground, that this could be something that we can do to enhance our security presence, our physical safety that we're embarking on at the School District of Philadelphia.
Chief, can you keep more students alive this year?
Can I keep more students alive?
Well, 33 died last year. Those are your numbers. Can you keep more students alive? Will this do that?
Listen, part of this, I've told people I'm a graduate of John Bartram High School, and John Bartram kept me alive. I believe that schools are the safest places. Philadelphia schools, despite all of the things that you've seen across the city, and we've had some tragedy, our schools are the safest places for our kids to be. It is our job as adults to make sure we make it as safe as possible for them. And so I believe that work is already done. We've already seen that what has happened as a result of COVID and how those numbers surges when school was not involved. And so I think we have enough evidence, may have not been researched yet, to identify that having our kids in school is having a significant impact on keeping the violence down and the number of the kids who are getting killed across the city. And we're going to continue to do our part, and I'm sure my colleagues here are doing their part to make sure those numbers continue to spiral down.
Okay, last question right here. And then some of us will stick around if you all want to follow up questions.
Listen, I think when you make blanketed edicts across anything without understanding the nuance of the particular jurisdiction or the particular school district you're working with, that's never successful. We're a local. We're the city of Philadelphia. We've been able to manage our schools effectively in the way we've been able to manage it for years. And so there's no mandate given to me or by anybody that we're going to put guns in our schools. We do not believe that's necessary here at our schools. The support we've received from the Philadelphia Police Department, combined with my staff in there, I think we've done a very effective job of keeping our kids safe without having to introduce guns into the school.